for you to be credible, you need to come to the table with fact, with data, with evidence. That's the credibility part, and passion without evidence is just noise.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Unfinished Bridge, a podcast by the Yar'Adua Foundation. I'm your host, Halima, and today I am so excited to be joined by the Executive Director of think tank Agora Policy. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you so much.
So my first question for you is, in simple terms, how would you describe data-driven advocacy, and why is this so important for governance and accountability?
Okay, thank you very much. Let's start with advocacy. An advocate is someone who is making a case for a cause, for an issue, for an idea, right? And for you to be able to make a compelling case, you need to come to the table with not just your passion, not just your emotion, not just some nice stories. You need evidence. So if you go back to Aristotle and his three appeals, in terms of rhetorics, in terms of persuasion, it talks about logos, ethos, pathos. Logos is the logic, ethos is the credibility, and pathos is the passion. Evidence is the anchor. For you to be credible, you need to come to the table with fact, with data, with evidence. That's the credibility part, and passion without evidence is just noise. And for your logic to be robust, you also need evidence. So apart from that, which is it will come from ancient times, and of course throughout history, people have always tried to persuade others. But we also live in a particularly different age now, which is the age of data. So whoever has the data, whoever understands the data, whoever can make sense of the data, can explain the data to others as an edge. Whoever does that has controls the narrative. So basically, data-driven advocacy is advocacy that is driven by data, literally. And why is it important? How crucial is it to governance and accountability? It is important because it actually makes you, empowers you to make a compelling case, to get people to do what ordinarily they wouldn't have wanted to do. So for you to be effective at this age, I'm sure you're also familiar with this famous expression, in God we trust, every other person bring data. So you need to show your workings. And, what data-driven advocacy allows you to do is that it strengthens your hand, it strengthens your argument, it increases your chance of success to be able to push the issues that are critical and important to you.
So how do you think data-driven advocacy can help tackle issues such as, lack of transparency and corruption?
Okay, we just need to look all around us and see how that is actually being done already. Like I said, it's about making a compelling case. So if all you are doing is to just say, this is bad, this is wrong, they are doing this, they are doing that, but you have not shown the evidence, right? So when you bring the evidence, it now becomes clear to everybody that there's something that needs to change. Let me mention two current examples. There's a young guy in a media organization called Daily Nigerian, right? And he did a story on how people obtain fake degrees from Cotonou. And he used that degree to enroll for NYC a second time, right? So, of course, all of us know that, maybe there's a possibility that they are doing this. Maybe we heard all of the story about how people just, without even leaving the comfort of their homes, they can purchase degrees, right? But this guy showed us that within 2 months, I was able to do this. And I was able to use that to get some stuff done through the Ministry of Education, get enrolled in NYC. Actually, got posted, showed up for orientation camp, right? And when he was even having some issues, got some things done through immigration, got somebody to stamp. So if you want to show that there's corruption in the system, it's not just about saying, there's corruption in the system. But this person has been able to make a case that cannot be ignored. That, I'm not just telling you that somebody told me. I did it.
Yeah.
And look at it.
Yeah.
Right. That is one instance. And there are so many instances like that. There's another one that is very current, that is actually ongoing. And I hope that will also lead to change. Budget. An organization that I'm a big fan of, focuses on the budget, right? And they use data from the budget to tell us about what is going on and also about what is wrong. They are running a campaign now, which is, of course, the budget is like 2,000 pages, just figures and all of that, But they're able to comb through, isolate things and make sense of certain trends and patterns, including that there were agencies that did not have some amounts in their original proposals, that those amounts got inserted into their budget. Yeah. And not just that, some of these agencies have insertions in areas that do not have any bearing with their mandate. Yeah. Right? If you are a research institution, why are you buying waste bin? Right? Yeah. Why are you buying cars? For chiefs? Why are you doing all sort of stuff? And we're talking about billions, right? Yeah, so if what budget is just showing is that, look at the 2024 budget, something untoward happened, it won't be as persuasive, it won't be as compelling.
As if they brought the data, the evidence.
And they brought the evidence, and they are showing it. Yeah. So we can see that, there was lack of transparency, there was lack of accountability, there's some kind of corruption. And it's now left for others to take that forward and see how we can, But if you come to the table with evidence, with a lot of hard work, and by the way, most people, when they see figures, they shut down.
Yeah.
Right? So if you take the extra mile of combing through and seeing different patterns and showing that some things that shouldn't have happened, right? It takes, you move from somebody who's just coming to the table from a position of passion. Passion is important, but it should be the starting point. You're also showing that, we have done the work, and this is the work, and a work that cannot be ignored. You can't say those things were not there, right? And you can't say these things do not align with the mandates of the organizations, and that, this is not how to be spending public money. And because some people have the opportunity of sitting in control over, approving budgets, that shouldn't give them the authority to be allocating things arbitrarily in a very haphazard manner. So, which is the very definition of corruption. So, the chance of success and in getting better governance, in getting greater transparency, in getting more accountability. Accountability is about the people being able to hold those in position to account. Yeah, you are better off doing that when you have evidence.
Okay, but the issue is that many young Nigerians feel disconnected from governance. So how do you think we can make policy issues like this more relatable to them and more accessible?
Okay, it's not just young Nigerians that are disconnected. I think sometimes we're being unfair to young people. It's Nigerians across generations, right, that are increasingly disconnected from governance and from public policy. And there are many reasons for people to kind of want to tune out. Because you are not getting what you should be getting from your government. You are not getting what you should be getting from your society, right? But that, in a way, is also a form of cop-out, right? This is exactly what they want. They don't want you to be interested, right? So that they can continue to do whatever they want to do, right? Whatever they are administering, whatever resources, whatever commonwealth that is in their custody, they are holding those things in trust. And so until you begin to pay more attention, until you begin to say, no, this is not what we have sent you to do. This is not our priority. This is not what we want done at this point in time, right? You are giving them like a carte blanche, right? You are just saying, do whatever you want, right? So back to your question, how do we get young people, or I will modify that, how do we get Nigerians across the board to be more interested? We need to, those who are in the space, we have to be more deliberate, right, in terms of trying to connect all those figures, all those amounts, all those policies, all those statements to things that matter to people. right? So when Nigerians hear billions now, when they hear trillions, even when they hear that billions have been stolen, they become so jaded.
Yeah.
Right. Or when they say here that, government has allocated so billions or trillions to this, they just say, it doesn't make any meaning to them again.
I think they've just become like immune to it.
Yeah. So what we need to do is to say, how do you connect those amounts, those figures, those proclamations, those policies to things that matter to people? How do we let people know that there's a link between money that has been stolen, between money that has been misappropriated, between money that has been misallocated, and between wrong policies and all of those things, and lack of basic service delivery, lack of things that impact on the quality of your life? Until people begin to see that connection, then they will continue to be disconnected. And that's exactly what those other guys want. They want you to kind of cede that territory to them. Let them do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
So if we're not insisting that things should be done differently, then we shouldn't expect that people, out of their own volition, out of their good conscience, out of their good nature, they will say, let's do good by our people. No. They want to corner the resources. They want to continue to exploit the fact that there's so much poverty in the land and just, drop bits and pieces for a few people.
Yeah.
Right? And all of that. So we need to get people more interested. Let people know that, see, if you don't have security, if you don't have good roads, if the schools are bad, right, or they are not quality, you don't have quality teachers, you don't have infrastructure for education, the hospitals are bad, right? You don't have drugs, you don't have good doctors. All those things, all those are pain points. They arise because of bad decisions and misallocation of resources. So we need to break it down. That's the first thing. So also in terms of young people. So if we begin to speak about all these things in baby grammar, we lose people.
Yeah.
Right? We have to speak the language that people understand, and we have to come to people through the platform where they are. Right? So if young people are on TikTok, right? If that is their platform of choice, don't insist that they have to come to newspaper, right? How can you meet them there? How can you don't say that the issue you are dealing with, climate change, gender-based violence, whatever it is that you're advocating for, or good governance or accountability, they are too serious that you don't want to go to Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. Right.
Yeah.
So you have to meet people where they are. You have to speak their language, right? Including, if you have to render it in animation, if you have to do infographics, how do you break this thing down to the level that people feel connected with and they can engage with? And also, how do you get them to see that there's something they can do about it?
Yeah.
So it's not just about, now we're aware, and so what? So you also need to give them the tools to show that, one, it is not a waste of time to be invested in these issues. And two, each person actually has a role that they can play. And this is what you can do in your own small corner.
Yeah. So riding off of that, what advice would you give to young people who wish to get more involved in, governance and accountability?
Okay, the first thing I would say is that, and I will still say, I will come back to young people because it's a young country, and we're talking about their present and their future, right? But I think it's an issue, good governance, better society, all of those things, they're in the interest of all of us, whether we're young, we're old, we're female, we're male, whatever it is that we are, right? So we all have a stake in ensuring that things work better, right? And we shouldn't just say, okay, if they don't want us to be involved. They don't want you to be involved, by the way. They don't want you to be interested. They want you to be distracted with some other things. All those things are very important, by the way, But they want you to just, leave us alone, right? Go and do your stuff, right? But the thing is that no matter how successful you are in those other domains, right? If your governance is messed up, it will catch up with you there. You can be a very successful writer, a very successful medical doctor, a very successful musician or artist, whatever it is. But you can maybe do some form of self-provisioning, right? You provide your own security, you provide your own water, and all of that. But there's still a limit to what you can provide for yourself. You need a functioning society to be able to even actualize, So my pitch is that all of us, irrespective of who we are, but especially younger people, should be more interested in a better society. But being interested is not just like, okay, now we're interested, right? And we're young people, so listen to us, right? Yes, the older generation, those who are in authorities, should listen to younger people, because our population will have about, more than 70% of our population is actually, young people, right? So they are the majority. They should be the one telling the society what they want, and it's also about their future, and all of that. But they have to insist. But you are not insisting just because we have the numbers, or we can hurt you during the elections, right? And all of those things. Those things are valid, by the way. But you need to be interested, and you need to engage, and you need to engage not just from a demographic perspective, right? Okay, is our generation where the majority, all of those things are valid. Like I said, you need to engage from a position of knowledge.
Absolutely, yes.
You need to engage from a position of knowledge. There's a way people can just say, those people, they're just noise makers. But when people listen to you, and they see that you know what they know, and possibly what they do not know, the level changes. So there's no substitute for knowledge. Right. So we need to invest in ourselves to make sure that we understand data. We get comfortable with data. We can tell compelling stories with data. And we know when people want to play games with data, we can figure out the game. And also invest in organizing. So how do we join forces with others?
Mobilizing.
And also, how do we ensure that we can work with people across generations? Because at the end of the day, sometimes people think that it's we against them. No, it's not we against them. We're all together. If the society is better, we all benefit. If it's, most of us will also be affected, right? So I don't have to agree with your outlook in life. I don't have to agree with your ideology. I don't have to agree with your political affiliation. But there are some things.
Common things we'll find.
So also how to create common ground. So that it's not, because when you go on Twitter, X, as they say now, it's so toxic. It's so polarized. North, south, this party, that party. People voted for this person. So what does that solve?
Nothing.
We have a society to build. We have, a problem to solve. And we can't solve it by continue to be polarized. We have to learn to work together. So if somebody voted for X and I voted for Y, it doesn't mean they are stupid. I need to understand. It doesn't mean that they did that only because of religious, ethnic, whatever reasons. There are different things that people are looking at. But we can go past all of that. And we can find a way of creating a common ground and working together. The also talking about data. Part of what and knowledge, part of what advice I'll give to people is that, one, find an area. You cannot do everything, right? Find an area that there's a gap. Your own skill sets prepare you to be part of the people who can fill the gap, and invest in knowing a lot about that, right? And also have certain things in mind. One, there will be pushbacks.
Definitely.
The people who benefit from the status quo, they want the status quo to continue. And they're investing in sustaining the status quo. And they will try all sorts of things to undermine you. So you have to be prepared for that. And don't say, at the first, push, then you just crack. If you are interested in change, know that people will come in different ways. People will dispute your data. People will, if you say 100 things, right, and it's only one that is wrong, they would seize on that, they will twist it to, to say, oh, this person is not credible and all of that.
Yeah.
The last advice I'll give, and I think, this is advice I'm giving to myself also, is that you need to come to the realization that change is a marathon. Working for change is an exercise in long distance, race, right? It's not something that is not. It's not a dash. It's not. What do you call it? It's not a sprint.
Yeah.
Right. If you expect that, because you have invested in knowledge, because you have organized with others, because you know all the tools and all of that, and when you do this, then this will happen.
Yeah.
You are setting yourself up for
failure.
Yeah. Knowing that there will be people who are out there to undermine you and sustain the status quo. Yeah. Knowing that you need to have the stamina, and that change is not a quick fix. Otherwise, it should have been done.
Yeah.
But we have to keep at it. And you also ask yourself, what options do we have anyway? Yeah. So if you give up, to give up is very easy. So, and if you give up, which is exactly what they want, what have you achieved? Yeah. As people say, wait till we don't get, wait till we get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So my final question for you, as someone who is very engaged in Nigeria's development, where is your favorite place in the country and why?
Okay. I think it keeps changing, but for now, I will have to say Abuja.
Ah, okay.
The first time I came here was in 1996, right? Does that make me sound old?
Not at all.
Okay, good. I remember, there was an Olympics in 1996. Nigeria won gold in football, and also in I think in long jump, right? Chioma Ajunwa, and the football, you have Kanu, Okocha, and the rest. And there was a reception for them in Abuja. And I was a journalist then, and I came, to cover that. Yeah. And that was my first time of coming to Abuja. It was at Eagle Square. I remember it rained that day. And Eagle Square was just a set of, canopies in a muddy field, right? So I came back to Abuja in 1999 when the politicians, came to town, and it was just taking shape, because Abuja will not start filling up until Tuesday, and it will start emptying out by Thursday. Yeah. Right. There was no place to go. There was nothing to do. Right. Of course, and I was coming from Lagos. You can understand. So why do I prefer Abuja? Why do I like Abuja? The obvious part in terms of someone interested in policy, this is the policy center of the country. Yeah. All the institutions are here. So if you are interested in seeing them, how they work up close, this is the place, to be. Yeah. So that's that. But to go back to the story I told you before, if you take 1996, 1999, 2003, and 2024, I've seen this city grown in a way that, just blows your mind. And the question I keep asking myself is that, because before then, I used to go to Accra, and some other places, and I used to say, what is wrong with us in Nigeria, right? So what we have done with Abuja is something that we should all be proud of. And yes, it's not perfect, and there are many Abujas within Abuja, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that imagine the quality of roads, the quality of infrastructure that we have here, that we have built here under, I'm telling you a story of like under 30 years now, right? If we have done that in many other places in this country, look at the roads in the city center, right? Imagine, if I'm from Osun, my wife is from Edo, right? Imagine if the road to Edo, the road to Osun, the road to, they are all like the roads in Abuja here. Imagine what that means for so many things. And if you have the kind of infrastructure and development that you have here, Imagine what that means for human development, for opportunities for people, even for security.
Yeah.
So that's why Abuja it's my favorite place, for now. Before then, it used to be Lagos, because I grew up in Lagos, went to school in Lagos, worked in Lagos, and Lagos has its own energy. There's just there's something about Lagos that's just. But as you grow older, and you start living in a place like Abuja, you say, maybe yes, energy, yeah, that's fine.
You appreciate the quiet.
Yes, but the fact that you can easily move around is changing also, based on some of those things I mentioned. But and some energy is coming to Abuja.
It's seeping gradually.
Yeah. In 2003, when I came, I was miserable. I didn't like this place. There was nothing to do.
Yeah.
And just look around now.
That's really wholesome. I think your lens is kind of unique, because many people just move to Abuja after it has become Abuja. You saw it grow from. That's really nice. So just want to thank you so much for joining us. It was such an honor speaking with you, and we look forward to having you back in the near future.
Thank you.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in, and see you in the next episode.